Let's give a big warm round of applause for Jillian Yanee.
All right, thank you for that story, Bill. That was hilarious. I'm going to have a story of a bit of a different tone. When I think back to my childhood mind, I think I must have been insane. I fixated on the impossible and believed it was real. Let me tell you a little bit about it. When I was 6 years old, my family moved from Weyburn, Saskatchewan to Raymond, Alberta. It was partway through the school year, and you know how that is, right? All the kids have already decided who their friends are going to be, and you don't fit into the plan. On top of that, it was Raymond, and most people's families have been there for about 5 generations, so a new family in town is an alien entity and certainly not to be trusted. That's when I met Stacy. Stacy was the best friend a girl could have. He was smart, he was funny, he was cute, we liked all the same games, we never fought, we walked to and from school together every day and played non-stop. Although looking back, I have to chuckle because Stacy looked exactly like Casey from Mr. Dress-Up. But no one ever commented on it because I was the only one who could see him. From that time on, my life took on a surreal quality. All of a sudden, I was no longer limited to believing in only what I could see with my eyes. Everything became much more magical and exciting and sometimes threatening. Bedtime was particularly scary because, of course, anything can happen at night in the dark while you're asleep. When I was little, my clothes came alive at night. Every night, night after night, there was singing and dancing and tea drinking, a big party in my room, and I had to sleep through it all. Sometimes I would try to catch them at it. I would lay in bed and pretend to be asleep. I was very good at it. And then, when my clothes least expected it, I would swing my head around and try to catch them, but every time it was like they knew. They put their teacups away, they turned the music off, they folded themselves neatly, placed themselves back in the drawers and in my closet, and I missed the whole thing. I don't know how they did it. Of course, that was one of the more innocent magical happenings that took place around my house. Some things were much more ominous, like our furnace. Our furnace was in the middle of our unfinished basement and was visible through a gigantic hole in the wall halfway down the hallway, which I had to walk down all of the time. It was like there was a dark, cold cave in the middle of our basement, a small ecosystem hospitable only for scuttly creatures like snakes and spiders and goblins. Of course, I wasn't scared of the furnace. I was scared of the monster that lived inside it. The fingernail monster's reason for living was to collect the fingernails of small children and attach them to his own retractable fingernails that, when fully extended, were miles and miles long, and every inch was made from the fingernails of small, innocent children. This monster had slaves that went out and did his dirty work for him. Fortunately, they could never leave the basement, and they could only leave the furnace when the furnace was on. I can't tell you how many times I shot up the basement stairs at full speed, narrowly escaping the fingernail monster's peons. It certainly does sound like I was an insane child, doesn't it? I created stories to explain the things I couldn't understand. I was lonely, so I created a friend. I was scared of our furnace, so I created a monster to explain it. Perhaps these stories are all that separates children from grown-ups.